In the metals quadrant, a quiet two-way session in the February gold futures contract with decent volume, and we end near unchanged. The high today was 2,025.60. That was up just short of 0.5%. And the low was $2,004. That was down 60 basis points or 0.6%. And the low today ended up being the lowest level we've reached since December 13th. But we rebounded enough to not have the lowest close since December 13th, but it is the lowest close since about January 17th. Or you could say it's the lowest close since yesterday, since we finished slightly higher than yesterday's closing level, just up about 5 basis points. On a weekly basis, gold is still working on its fourth consecutive week lower, down almost 0.75%. Solid U.S. economic data today helped keep a sort of a lid on gold, with GDP higher than expected at 3.3%. That's up 3.3%. It is the first read, the advanced read of the last quarter of last year's GDP, and new home sales were up plus 8%, almost getting back the entire minus 9% drop from the last release. Jobless claims were higher, but still historically low, and you would think that that might push gold a little bit lower, and initially it did, but the quarterly price component within today's GDP figure was pretty contained, and we have the full PCE price report tomorrow to look forward to. Also, rates were kept in check, with U.S. Treasury yields starting off mixed to slightly lower, but ending the session with the entire curve lower by a couple of basis points. Now, certainly nothing earth-shattering, but enough to keep the equity rally in place for most of the session and give gold some reason to not stay down at its lows and not settle down at the lows. Certainly didn't collapse and settle there, but we ended up the day basically unchanged.